We move now on to item 19, other business. Dear colleagues, I'm pleased that we have managed to finish efficiently the 3 sub-items of item 15. I would like to propose that, as decided by the Bureau this morning, we move now on to the examination of item 19, other business. As you recall, while examining item 6B on Monday, we decided to discuss under this item about a specific procedure for the transfer of the element Xuan Xingyi of Phu Tho Province, Vietnam, inscribed by Vietnam in 2011 on the list of intangible cultural heritage in need of urgent safeguarding to the representative list. We also agreed to discuss and take a decision about the possible way to move towards general relevant procedures for transferring elements from one list of the Convention to the other, and also for removing elements from both lists. As I understand, Belgium has proposed a draft decision that has already been shared with some committee members and that apparently encounters their favorable opinion. In summary, this draft decision identifies a path for a long-term solution that consists in identifying clear procedures for the transfer of elements from one list to the other, as well as for the removal of elements to be finally adopted by the General Assembly in 2018. Meanwhile, in consideration of the lengthy process that could lead to the adoption of these procedures in the same draft decision, it is proposed that the committee, on an exceptional basis, will examine at its 12th session in 2017, above the overall ceiling adopted yesterday, both a new nomination of the same element on the representative list, as well as the report on the status of the element in question, if those will be submitted by Vietnam by 31 March 2016. If submitted, the new nomination and the report will be examined by the evaluation body for the 2017 cycle, and the committee will include this new responsibility in terms of reference of the next evaluation body. But let me give the floor to Belgium so that they can explain in details the proposed draft decision. Thank you very much. Belgium, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think you did an excellent presentation and an excellent explanation, so I won't go into detail. Of course, what I would like to add is that, of course, we want to commend Vietnam for putting this request to us. This is the very first time. It forces us also to think about this, and it's an important point because it concerns the updating of lists. It concerns keeping the system alive and being able also to remove elements from the urgent safeguarding list. So this is the first point I would like to make. And then I don't believe it's necessary to go into very much detail. So the idea is, in fact, to have it examined in 2017. Why 2017? Because, of course, we will have to go through the normal procedure of the nomination to the representative list, concurrently with the examination of the implementation of the safeguarding plan, which means that the soonest we can do this is in 2017. And I won't go into any much more detail unless, for example, there would be questions raised, and I of course, will be willing to answer them. I just want to note that I was just approached by the distinguished delegate of Kyrgyzstan who wants to add their support to the draft decision. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Belgium. Is there any delegation waiting to speak, to take the floor? I see none. Oh. Belgium, the floor is yours.
No, sorry, it was Korea who wanted to add their support.
Thank you, Belgium. Korean, do you want to take the floor on this matter?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Republic of Korea appreciates the Belgian colleagues' proposal. As we mentioned at Monday, we would like to emphasize again that Vietnam is a very good example showing a country's efforts on safeguarding the intangible heritage. Vietnam's request to transfer their item on the urgent list to the representative list is such an exemplary work that the state parties can follow. In this regard, the Republic of Korea co-sponsored the Belgian's proposal since we fully support the spirit of it. However, reading carefully, we found out some procedural problems regarding the paragraph 8. Yes, as the paragraph goes, the committee first decide on the removal of elements in the urgent list, and later we have the discussion on whether to have the elements on the representative list or not. So if the committee decide to refer or not to inscribe, it goes back to the urgent list, even though we decided to remove from the urgent list. So in this sense, I think the Republic of Korea believes that it is better to delete the latter parts of the paragraph 8, starting from "and that." I'm not following this. Yes. Yes. And I think we believe that it will solve the problem. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Korea. I give the floor now to Algeria. Please, Algeria.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Nous voudrions, à l'instar des honorables délégués qui nous ont précédés, remercier la Belgique pour le texte qu'ils viennent de nous proposer et que nous soutenons et que nous avons soutenu. Nous voulons également féliciter la République du Vietnam pour les efforts faits afin de proposer la sortie ou le changement de la liste de sauvegarde urgente à la liste représentative. Cela augure d'un bon travail et cela nous rassure sur l'état du monde, que l'on peut donc sauver un patrimoine culturel qui nécessitait une sauvegarde urgente. C'est une première et nous voulons insister là-dessus et le relever. Et que donc nous soutenons le texte proposé par l'honorable délégué de la Belgique. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Merci à l'Algérie. Turkey, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, Turkey believes that Vietnam's case merits appreciation and support. We believe this case and the way we're going to address the issue will be conducive to evolve the convention in the direction that we actually desire. There is broad consensus on that. That's why if Belgium would like to improve paragraph 8, that's fine with us. The way it is, that's fine with us. But we're also willing and supportive of addition of the extra paragraph on further discussing this issue, because we believe further discussions are necessary, because they will also probably help evolve the convention in the direction of the exchange between the two lists. And we need to establish the conditions and the modalities and the mechanisms properly. We believe that will require more than one meeting. And the President of our National Commission, Professor Ouz, kindly and generously indicated that he would be keen to explore the possibilities of supporting such an ad hoc group. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. I see Belgium. Belgium, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to acknowledge the words of my distinguished colleague, the Ambassador of Turkey, and also thank the Turkish delegation for exploring this possibility. So I would indeed suggest to yes, include this final paragraph. And then coming back to the proposed amendment by Korea on paragraph 8, I would also like to express my appreciation to the Korean delegation for their scrutiny and their very careful reading of paragraph 8, because I think indeed there could be an issue with the wording as it was originally proposed. So Belgium would like to support the amendment of Korea. Thank you.
Thank you, Belgium. Is there any other delegation that wish to speak? I see Ethiopia. Ethiopia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The delegation of Ethiopia appreciates the spirit and initiative made by Belgium and the Republic of Korea. In follow-up to what has been said by my distinguished delegates, we believe we need to encourage extraordinary and exceptional initiatives which has been made by Vietnam. So Ethiopia believes and joins the broad consensus building to the draft proposed by the State Party of Belgium as amended by Korea. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ethiopia. I see Uganda. Côte d'Ivoire. The floor is yours.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. La Côte d'Ivoire veut faire sienne les félicitations adressées à la Belgique pour la qualité du travail abattu au sein du comité et apprécie également la disponibilité de la Belgique à soutenir le comité dans ses travaux. La Côte d'Ivoire soutient le test proposé par la Belgique et félicite également le Vietnam qui prouve que la liste de sauvegarde urgente, les éléments inscrits sur la liste de sauvegarde urgente peuvent, par le travail des pays concernés, effectivement sortir de cette liste et être à nouveau inscrits sur la liste de sauvegarde, sur la liste représentative. Merci.
Merci, Côte d'Ivoire. Uganda, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair, for giving me this opportunity. I would like to thank the Republic of Vietnam for coming up with this good example. Uganda has a number of elements on the urgent safeguarding list, and we've been wondering how we can be in position to move these elements to another list, especially after these elements become viable again. So we totally support the draft decision. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Uganda. I see Algeria. The floor is yours.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Je m'excuse de reprendre la parole une seconde fois à ce sujet, mais c'était pour dire que nous soutenons l'amendement apporté par la Corée au texte de la Belgique. Merci Madame.
Merci à l'Algérie. Je vois de la Tunisie. The floor is yours.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Je tiens à féliciter le Vietnam non seulement pour ses efforts déployés, mais aussi de nous avoir donné cette occasion, par le biais de cette demande, de réfléchir ensemble sur le développement d'un mécanisme adéquat qui permet le passage et le transfert d'une liste à l'autre, et nous appuyons la proposition formulée par la Belgique. Merci.
Merci. Is there any other delegation wishing to speak? I see Namibia. Namibia, the floor is yours.
Thank you for the floor, Madam Chair. We support the draft resolution as suggested by Belgium and amended by Korea. And we also feel that the establishment of an open-ended working group to work on the establishment of the mechanism of moving one element from one list to the other is a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Namibia. Hungary, the floor is yours.
Hungary would like to express its appreciativeness to Vietnam to do this very good job concerning the element which was on and which is on the urgent list right now and can be removed. So the reason why I ask the floor to express our appreciativeness to Vietnam, and of course thanks to the work of our colleague from Belgium, and Hungary is in favor in the draft decision.
Thank you very much, Hungary. Shall we proceed to the adoption of decision, paragraph by paragraph? Can we see it on the screen? Paragraph 1 takes note of the request of Vietnam to transfer the element Xuan Sengin of Phu Tho Province, Vietnam, from the list of intangible cultural heritage in need of urgent safeguarding to the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. I see no objection. Adopted. 2. Further notes that this is the first time since the entry into force of the Convention that such a request was received. Is there any objection? I see none. Adopted. 3. Commends the State Party for its request to the committee. I think there is no objection to that either. Adopted. 4. Recalls Articles 16, 17, and 29 of the Convention and Chapters 1.1, 1.2, and 1.11 and 5.12 of the operational directives. I see Latvia.
Thank you. As we are in general in favor of the decision that is proposed, but there's a minor amendment that we would like to propose here. As the decision in general speaks about the fact that the committee is going to examine the nomination for the representative list together with the report concerning the nomination on the urgent safeguarding list. However, we believe that the nomination submitted for the representative list is going to follow all the process of the evaluation, so namely also the work of the evaluation body, which is the reason why we would suggest that also the chapters or the parts 1.7 and 1.8 of the operational directives could be mentioned here. So namely concerning submission of files and evaluation of files. Thank you.
Thank you, Latvia, for your suggestions. Is there any objection to that? I see none. Adopted as amended. 5. Considers that the operational directives need to be revised in order to establish clear procedures for the removal of an element from a list and the transfer from one list to the other. I see no objections. Adopted. 6. Further considers, as it is the first time that such a request was received, that the request of Vietnam merits an exceptional treatment and that the experience gained in the examination by the committee can feed into the reflection of the possible proposals for revision of the operational directives. I think here we should separate Vietnam. Is it correct? Thank you. Is there any comments? I see none. 6 adopted as amended. Decides on an exceptional basis and pending the adoption of relevant procedures by the General Assembly in 2018 that if Vietnam submits by the deadline of 31 March 2016 both its report on the status of the inscribed element Xuan Singin of Phu Tho Province, Vietnam, on the list of intangible cultural heritage in need of urgent safeguarding, and a new nomination of the same element on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity, the committee will examine them currently at its 12th session in 2017 above the adopted overall ceiling for the 2017 cycle to take a decision on the requested transfer. I see no objection. 7 is adopted. Paragraph 8. Further decides that the possible examination of the nomination of the element to the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity in 2017 cycle will only take place should the committee first decide after examination of the report on the removal of the element from the list of intangible cultural heritage in need of urgent safeguarding. We received an amendment here from Korea that has received some support of the committee. Can we adopt as amended, or are there any comments? No comments. Paragraph 8 adopted as amended. 9. Further decides to add an item on the agenda of its next session to reflect on a possible proposal for the revision of the operational directives in order to deal with the removal of an element from a list and the transfer from one list to the other. Is there any objection? I see none. Paragraph 9 adopted. Paragraph 10 decides to convene an open-ended intergovernmental working group to be held before the 12th session of the committee to discuss draft operational directives on the procedure for removal of an element from a list and the transfer from one list to the other. This meeting will be organized on condition that voluntary supplementary contributions to the Intangible Cultural Heritage Fund are received in due course and in any case no later than January 2017, in order to cover all of the costs of organizing the meeting and the costs of the participation of representatives of developing countries that are parties to the convention, whether or not members of the committee, but only for persons who are experts in intangible cultural heritage. Do we have any comment on that? I see none. I declare paragraph 10 adopted. We will now adopt the decision as a whole. Is there any objection? I see no objection. Sorry, Côte d'Ivoire, the floor is yours.
La Côte d'Ivoire n'a pas d'objection, mais il y a un problème d'harmonisation de l'orthographe. D'harmonisation de l'orthographe du nom Vietnam. On ne sait pas si c'est en 2 mots ou en un seul mot.
Thank you very much, Côte d'Ivoire. I think the Secretariat will proceed to the corrections. Hungary, please.
Thanks for the floor. I just would like to suggest, if it's possible, one more paragraph to the draft decision, which something like this: the committee acknowledged and appreciate the efforts of Vietnam concerning the related element. Because right now it looks like all this procedure would be a problem for us. But right now, I think this is a successful story, and this point, in the 3.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Hungary. Is that an amendment to paragraph 3?
No, I don't know to where it's possible to place. Maybe to the end or somewhere at the. So acknowledged and appreciate the efforts of Vietnam.
Belgian wants to take the floor. Belgian.
Yes, to thank my Hungarian colleague, because this is indeed an important point. I just want to clarify that I try to reflect this in para 3, where we commend the state party for their request. Why are we commending them for their request and, for example, not yet on, because we didn't have the chance yet to examine their report, so we can't pronounce, for example, at this time, on the success, but we can pronounce ourselves on the fact that they did this request that is very much appreciated to the committee. So I try to capture this in paragraph 3, so I just want to ask my Hungarian colleague if they see this reflected there.
Hungary, seeing we have already adopted this paragraph and given the Belgian explanation, can we leave it with it?
I think it's not compared to the efforts what has been done by Vietnam, but if the members of the committee agree the previous and adopted paragraph, I regret my suggestion.
Thank you very much, Hungary. I think that next year, if we manage to adopt the request made by Vietnam, we can commend them and congratulate them for their big effort on this item. Thank you very much, Hungary. Can we adopt the decision as a whole? Before that, I would like to excuse myself with Vietnam for the pronunciation of the element. Let's proceed to the adoption of decision as a whole. Is there any objection? Seeing none, I declare draft decision 10.com19 adopted as amended. Thank you very much. I see that Vietnam wants to take the floor. Vietnam, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Madam Chair, let me, on behalf of the Vietnamese delegation, I would like to thank the Belgian delegation, the Secretariat, for the initiative to propose a text that enjoys the broadest possible support of the committee. My delegation would also like to thank each and every member of the committee for having listened attentively to Vietnam's concern and try to address our request for transfer of swan singing to the representative list in the most practical and reasonable manner. My delegation understands the difficulties of the Secretariat and the necessity to respect for the rule and the procedures, but cannot help expressing somewhat our concern. 8 years ago, Vietnam had to go through a long process to prepare a nomination of this element to be inscribed on the urgent list. Then over the past 4 years, we have invested heavily in the safeguard of the heritage in order to make it vibrant, lively, and popular as seen today, the report of which we have sent to the Secretariat. Now again, Madam Chair, Vietnam has to embark upon another journey to prepare a new nomination for the same element for the second time, but this time on the representative list. The process again is lengthy. But Vietnam is proud to be an exemplary case for the safeguard efforts, so we will not give up and we try our best to implement the decision. On this occasion, Madam Chair, let me share one observation. The Convention 2003 has brought about concrete results, helped revitalizing and bringing to full play so many heritages that are threatened to disappear or would have been lost without the Convention. However, at a certain point in time in the future, we should reflect on the sense of urgency that we attach to the protection of the elements inscribed on the urgent safeguarding list. When we inscribe an element on that list, we would like to give a more focused protection to the heritage and hope to be able one day to get it out of the emergency or urgent situation. But our question is, the sense of urgency will last for how long? Because we do not have state of conservation mechanism as provided for in the 1972 Convention. Madam Chair, a patient cannot live forever in his emergency or intensive care in the hospital. It also applies to intangible cultural heritage. It stretches resources, human and financial. It is not by any means my delegation's intention to discredit the urgent safeguard list, but we believe that we are victims of our own success. We need to address this sooner or later. In conclusion, Madam Chair, the Convention does not provide a mechanism of warning or a scheme of rewards. It is high time for the committee to reflect on that. The overall and ultimate objective of the Convention is to safeguard and promote intangible cultural heritages. Honoring a community by inscribing their intangible cultural heritage on the list is very important, but not enough. Best practices award should be put in place in another way in order to encourage communities in their challenging endeavors to protect and safeguard our common, intangible cultural heritage for the generations to come. I thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Vietnam, for your remarks. I'm sure the committee will take very careful examination of your nomination to the next year. And thank you for your efforts. I give the floor now to Madame Duval for some explanations.
Yes, I think now that you have extended your work for half an hour, we will just postpone the starting of the afternoon session at 3 so that you have time to rest and lunch for some of you. So the idea is at 3 you meet in the room. You will find all the decisions adopted so far on your desk. You will take half an hour to read them, check them after the rapporteur has done it for all the previous days. And then the formal adoption should happen at 3:30. And then you proceed to, not formal adoption. You proceed to also the 2 remaining items, date and place of your next session, composition of the bureau. And so the last information I want to tell you, so meet here at 3 o'clock. And the information session for the capacity building for Group 1 and 2 will take place from 2 to 3 in order to allow some of you to have lunch. NGOs are meeting, as I understand now, in room Oryx 4 until 2:30, and there is still this Namibian exhibition today up to this evening, so it's your last chance. In order to continue with the tradition in our meetings, we are trying to improve always the organization of our meetings, and so we will send you to all participants a survey of satisfaction on your mails. It's a very quickly filled form that you can give us in order to give us some feedback and that we can improve for next time. The last information that may interest you, there are recordings of this meeting from the very opening ceremony to now, okay? So the uploading of these recordings is done on a daily basis, and for the time being, all interventions and sessions are online until Wednesday. Okay? Of course, we are going to continue, but it's not automatic. But if you want to remind the nice moments, up to Wednesday, it is online.
Thank you very much. We are meeting again promptly at 3 p.m. Please make sure you are on time. Room will remain open during lunchtime. Take care of your personal belongings. And please, as always, leave your headphones and speakers on the table. The session is closed.
Thank you.